Hello, and welcome back to Test Talks, the podcast where we cut through the noise to discuss what truly matters in enterprise software testing. I'm your host, Yuval, and today we're tackling one of the most overhyped yet genuinely transformative topics in our industry, AI and generative AI in enterprise software. With me today is a very special guest, David Binny, CEO of Panaya, who's been navigating this AI transformation from the C-suite perspective. David, welcome. Everywhere I look, there's another AI-powered solution promising to revolutionize everything. As a CEO, how do you separate genuine innovation from marketing fluff?
Hey, thanks, and really happy to be here. And you're absolutely right. AI is everywhere right now. Everywhere you look, it's there. Actually, it feels like every company, not just tech, by the way, suddenly woke up one morning and said, you know what? Let's just stick the AI sticker on this thing we built a few years ago and call it AI powered, fill the blank. Okay. You see AI powered and a company name and et cetera, et cetera. So how can we tell if it's a genuine innovation or marketing fluff? No offense to any marketer listening to this podcast. So I always do a quick reality check. Is this actually doing something fundamentally new? Or it's just the same old process dressed up with a shiny AI power label? Because honestly, all of what's branded as AI is just automation, and many people tend to confuse between the two. Use if, then rules and bunch of scripts called automation. Yeah, I would say it's useful, but let's not pretend it's AI. Real AI, or I should say true AI, is different. It's when you see a system that can generate new insights, adapt in real time, and can make smart decisions across complex situations. So my rule of thumb, Yuval, is very simple. You strip away the labels, you strip away the buzzwords, and you just look at the before and after. If all it does, it speed things up. That's incremental. It's nice, but it's not a game-changing, I would say, application. But if it changes how the work gets done, that's transformational.
We've mentioned separating innovation from fluff. Let's dig deeper into that. When you're evaluating AI solutions, what's the key question that usually reveals whether it's genuine innovation or just marketing spin?
So for me, the litmus test is actually really simple. Is what I can do now that I just couldn't do before. If the answer is kind of fuzzy, then hey, it's probably just a marketing spin. And again, no offense to all creative marketing folks out.
Take healthcare, for example.
In the past, discovering a new drug or a new medicine meant years, lab work, and trial and error. It was painfully slow, right? Now with models like AlphaFold, as an example, which is basically a model that can predict 3D shapes and etc., you can predict protein structure in hours. So suddenly research and development timelines collapse from years of research and development to months.
Wow.
That's not hype. That's not hype. Yeah, it's a real wow. That's innovation. Another example, which is close to my heart because I spent many years in this industry, is the customer service. The old way to provide an online customer service was, operate via giant call centers, long wait times, agents giving inconsistent answers, and customers getting mad and frustrated. The new way is with AI assistants. Okay, I admit sometimes, it's annoying when you just want a human to speak with you. But overall, if you look on it, in the 80-20% rule, you get accurate answers, you get them instantly, and you get them in any language. So humans only step in for the tricky stuff. And that's not just faster, it's a completely different experience. So again, if I bring it back to our world of enterprise testing, true AI is not about just running old scripts faster. True AI is around generating the test itself, figuring out what to test, what not to test, spot the risky areas, adapt as the system changes, and be able to run automatically without needing any human babysitter. Anything less than that, Yuval, is just a faster horse, if you ask me.
That's a great framework. Now, speaking of real versus artificial value, there's a lot of debate about AI's impact on testing specifically. Some say it will make testing obsolete. Others say it makes it more important. What's your take on this?
Wow. Okay, that's a $1 million question. I will give all testers and quality assurance teams a spoiler. Don't rush looking for a new job. or sending out your CVs, okay? Can relax. I'm definitely in the camp of that belongs to AI won't make testing obsolete. If anything, it makes testing more important and honestly way more strategic than ever. And I will explain, like, think about the old world of testing. It was pretty basic stuff. Do the buttons work? Does the data flow? Does the application crash or not? The login works? That was pretty much the old checklist with some variants around the use cases or the application that you are testing. But with AI, I would say it's no longer just about the functionality, it's about the behavior, because AI system can learn, can adapt, and sometimes even surprise you. And when software starts surprising you, it's not a good thing. You definitely want a tester in the room. So quality assurance folks, testing folks, whoever is responsible on the testing portion in the company, it raises a bunch of new questions like, is the AI making a fair decision? Is it making an unbiased decision? Is it safe? And as it keeps evolving, are we still aligned with the business goals and regulations? And if you ask me, Yuval, that's a whole new ball game. And we are moving from testing fixed applications in some way to testing intelligent systems. And that requires, in my view, new methods, new skills, and honestly, a bigger seat at the strategy table, in my view, for testing and QA teams. So no, in short, AI is not here to kill testing. It's here to raise the stakes. And another way to look on it is that we are not just testing what software does anymore. We are testing how it thinks.
That's super interesting because there's a narrative out there, you must heard it, that AI will eventually replace testing altogether, that systems will be so smart they'll test themselves. What are your thoughts on this?
I personally think that the whole AI will replace testing story comes from a misunderstanding of both AI and testing. So again, AI does not eliminate testing, it just changes it. Sure, we may get to a point in time where systems run a lot of their own checks.
Some already do, by the way.
But that doesn't mean humans are out of the loop. Think about it like, a Tesla. Tesla, which is set on autopilot mode. The car can drive itself. It can change lanes. It can slow down. It can speed up. Really amazing, I agree. But you still need a driver behind the wheel. Why? Today, with the FSD, you still need a driver behind the wheel. I believe that the reason is because every now and then it does something creative or even unexpected, and you want a human there to make sure creative doesn't end up in a ditch. And that's exactly the role of testing in AI world, because AI introduces brand new challenges like validating the decisions, watching for bias, which is a big thing in AI, watching for the bias, making sure it's explainable and checking that it stays aligned with business rules and ethics of the organization. So instead of just verifying fixed, predictable functionality, QA now were responsible to validate the intelligent systems that evolve over time. And that's not less work, if you ask me. That's actually a much bigger
and more strategic responsibility.
End of the day, testing will not be just about finding bugs anymore, okay, or defects. In an AI-driven world, it will be more around safeguarding trust. And trust is not something you can just hand off to a machine, at least not immediately. So yes, AI can test itself, but it cannot judge itself. Just like Tesla can drive itself, but it still needs a driver hands-off to safeguard it. Well, at least today, and it evolves so rapidly, we need to watch out. But the net, as of today, this type of trust still needs a human signature.
So instead of making testing obsolete, AI is actually making testing more complex and strategic. Can you walk us through what that looks like in practice?
Yeah, so let's remind ourselves how we did testing in old days versus what is already available today. In the old days, testing was pretty straightforward. Does the screen load? Does the calculation give the right result? Etc. and etc. And then, there is a checklist and someone is marking it as done. Now with AI, we are not just checking if something works. We are checking the quality of the output. And let's give a simple example. Imagine that, the AI, we are in a banking environment and we have an application to approve loans. And in my view, it's not enough, to see if the verdict is approved or denied on the loan that was requested. You need to understand why it was approved or denied. Was it the credit score issue? Was it the income level? Or, it made a a decision about people named Yuval or David, which decides with a biased decision if to approve or to deny. That's where testing comes in, making sure that the logic is, I would say, fair, explainable, and repeatable. And it's not just the answers, right? We also have to validate the decision-making process. Can it explain, can the AI explain why it made that choice? Is it applying the right logic consistently? And et cetera, et cetera. You know where I'm heading with that. So then you have got, some edge cases, traditional software had a definite set of them. With AI, edge cases can be infinite because the system keeps learning, it keeps adapting. So you need strategies for monitoring, for stress testing, for flow correction in real time. And maybe the biggest shift that is happening is that we are moving from testing static applications in some sense to testing agents that can evolve and even invent their own steps. And this will open up, I would say, whole new categories of critical testing, validating the training data, all the way to continuous behavioral audits and etc. So yeah, AI will raise the game for sure. Testing will not be just a checkpoint at the end. It will be at the center of ensuring these systems are safe, ensuring that these systems are fair and reliable.
So from what I'm hearing from you, it sounds like it fundamentally changes what we expect from our testing teams. In that case, how should organizations be preparing their people for this massive shift?
Well, it absolutely changes expectations from the teams. And honestly, it's going to reshape, if you ask me, how testing teams and QA teams look like in every industry. The first step, in my view, will be, upskilling the people you already have. And no, don't panic. We don't need every tester to suddenly become a data scientist. This is not what I'm saying. Nobody is asking you to build ChatGPT in your basement. But testers do need to get comfortable with the basics of how models work, where bias can sneak in, and what it means to validate a system that keeps adapting on the fly. Just as important, I would say that pairing that AI literacy with domain expertise will be important, because sometimes an AI decision, even if you use ChatGPT and you get the answers, you say, wow, it's so perfect, but it's perfect on paper. Even amazing, you say, but anyone who knows the business context will say, no way, that makes zero sense. So I would say it will be also important to pair that AI literacy with domain expertise. And testing teams cannot work in a silo anymore. I think there is a shift there as well. They've got to be in constant conversation with developers and also with the business users. That is the way that you can catch issues early, and that's the glorious shift left that everyone are familiar with, basically moving problems from the production floor to the meeting room, say much cheaper therapy that way. And I know that it might feel like a deja vu, and it is, because if I remember when automation first hit the manufacturing industry, as an example, people were convinced that robots were going to replace every factory worker. What actually happened is that we got new roles. We got robot technicians, we got automation supervisors, safety inspectors, and more. So if you look on it that way, it means that the jobs really didn't disappear, they evolved. So same story here with testing. And the fun part is that we will see brand new career paths in testing. Now, I can imagine roles such as AI quality analyst or AI test specialist, AI test architect, AI ethics and bias tester, maybe even an AI behavior auditor and more. You got the idea, right? So for testing professional, this is really a step up and an opportunity. You are not just a bug hunter or a defect hunter anymore. You are becoming the guardian of trust in the AI era. A guardian of trust. It actually sounds cool as a LinkedIn profile now.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the robots example. That's a really good example of what we experienced a few years ago and where we are now. So when we speak about smart testing, we have mentioned this before. What does that look like in practice? Can you give us a concrete example of how this transforms the testing function?
So
Before I even define smart testing, let me give you a fun story, okay, which I often use it with clients and partners here at Panaya. So Yuval, think about maps, okay? You remember when the first GPS came out?
It was groundbreaking. It changed life.
it changed life. All of us look, we looked on it like a wonder, right?
Yes.
And it just, it was in the days that it just showed us the shortest route from A to B, which was pretty basic, but, very innovative. You didn't need to print maps anymore, which were very static. You have this GPS. But now with smart navigation, like Waze or Google Maps, it doesn't just show you the road, right? It can predict the traffic, can reroute you if there is an accident, and it even can warn you about, speed cameras, and some roadblocks on the way. That is smart, okay? We moved from this reactive navigation of the GPS, which was, truly innovative, to something which is more proactive and intelligence-driven navigation. So now let's take it to our testing world. I think that the testing is going through the same kind of evolution. Take ERP testing as an example, which traditionally looks very complex. If you update a big SAP or Oracle environment system, the safe thing to do is to test everything and to make sure that you run your entire regression pack, because you don't want, to do the shame of work and to break something in production. So it means that hundreds or even thousands of test cases need to be executed. That's like, that's like checking every single light bulb in your house just because you change one in the kitchen. It sounds ridiculous, right? So it sounds also, beside ridiculous, it sounds also expensive and honestly unnecessary. So with smart testing, when AI steps in, can analyze the code changes, it can look on the business processes, it can map the impact, and then it will tell you, hey, Yuval, relax, you just have these 17 things to test, the rest is fine. You don't need to run the thousands tests that you have in your regression pack, as an example. So what happened here, in fact, is that instead of testing everything, which can be hundreds or thousands of scenarios and tests, you are now just testing what matters. So this was on testing. What does it mean for the business? From a business perspective, it means that you have a faster release with a lower cost and a less risk. And in plain English, it means that, you ship changes, nothing breaks, nobody has to survive on pizza and Red Bull till 2 a.m. So if I sum it up, smart testing means that you stop testing everything and you focus on testing what matters.
That sounds amazing. Now, you mentioned testing. You mentioned testing becomes strategic. How do you measure the ROI of this new approach of testing?
Yuval, come on. Podcasts usually don't love numbers and ROIs.
We do.
Nobody wants me to. You do? Okay. Well, I'm not sure that I can pull the calculator here in front, but instead, I will give like 3 simple tips that if they are working, it means that you have the ROI and it delivers value. And of course, we can also, double click on the ROI later on. I would say the first one will be risk mitigation. The best QA is the one that keeps you out of the news. Okay. If testing prevents, again, in my view, critical failure in production, you've just avoided a reputational damage. That's not just QA success, it's what I call a brand protection. And it's way cheaper than hiring any PR crisis firm or seeing your company trending on Twitter or CNN for all the wrong reasons. Okay? So one is to make sure that if everything works in production, it means that the QA was successful. My second tip is speed. I think that smart testing focuses only on what matters. So you avoid, as we mentioned earlier, to test things which are not relevant. And the payoff here is shorter release cycle. You ship faster without the late night drama that we talked about. And tip number 3 will be the quality. And there is always a dilemma. I get it. If you speed things up, does it mean that we need to compromise on the quality? If your defects slip into production while you are delivering faster, that's the proof right there, right? No defects, no bugs. It means that we did a great job earlier by focusing on what is required. So in my view, if I need to simplify, there is no need for a fancy ROI spreadsheet here. Of course, we have and supporting it, but the business will feel it immediately that things are running fast. So to wrap this one up, I think that smart testing gives you these 3 big wins as your ROI, your risk mitigation, speed, and quality. Or as I like to say, you stay out of the headlines, you go faster, and you sleep better at night.
Now, from a CEO perspective, when you're looking at AI adoption across your organization, what are the strategic considerations that keep you up at night?
So from a CEO perspective, AI adoption is not just about the new shiny technology. It's about the whole ecosystem around it. Again, I will not push back. Everyone are playing with AI tools, you hear the conversations and the excitement of people finding the new shiny tech and exploring new tools, conversations such as, hey, did you check the new base 44? Did you play with Lovable, with Sora, Gemini, ChatGPT, and it goes on, right? But from my perspective, it's not just about learning how to use a new AI tool. It's more than that. It starts with saying garbage in, garbage out. If you are playing with AI and you don't have it, I would say, you don't really understand what you are doing based on the data. If you don't have the right data model, then it's starting to become scary. Okay, the last thing you want is an HR AI system that starts promoting everyone named David and rejecting everyone named Yuval, or vice versa, right? So the data model should be there. This is number one. On a serious note, you need your data to be right. Sounds very straightforward, but it's not. Okay, many of the organizations are trying to implement it too fast, and the data is not there, and creates a lot of, I would say, issues later on. The second thing that we need to pay attention as a CEO and executives is the integration. Companies run, in most of the cases, it will be like a spaghetti mix of ERP, CRM, and some kind of a custom application or set of custom applications.
Dropping in AI tool is easy,
but making it actually work across all that is the hard part. It's like buying a fancy espresso machine and then you realize that you don't have any power outlet where you want to place it. So you need to ensure it integrates well. And number three is the people. Okay? If the team do not trust it or know how to use it, AI adoption stalls. And again, there is the first time excitement here of trying something new, but sometimes it reminds me like the gym membership. We all buy it in January when we make new decisions for the new year, but it's great potential, but zero impact when we stop going to the gym. And of course, to wrap it up, security and compliance is always something that we need to look at as well. The stuff that keeps Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, and sometimes CEOs awake at night is a lot around security and compliance. So the hardest part, if you ask me, Yuval, of AI adoption is not using the tool itself or building the AI model. That's easy. The hardest part is making sure that the data, the people, and the guardrails that we spoke about are ready for it.
And what advice would you give to other executives who are feeling pressure to do something with AI, but aren't sure where to start?
Yuval, that question is spot on. It reminds me of a client call that I had just last week. They kicked the call with saying, David, how Panaya can help us with getting AI into everyone's daily job? I immediately asked, okay, but what's the actual problem you are trying to solve? And they said, honestly, management is pushing us to implement AI. We are not sure about the plan. There is no clear plan, but people are very stressed and we don't want to fall behind. And Yuval, we are talking here on a very large and respectful client, okay, who is facing some kind of FOMO, okay? And I get it, don't get me wrong, okay? The pressure is real, but here's the thing. Dropping AI on top of a messy process, again, and I used a lot of examples and metaphors. In this way, it reminds me like, putting a jet engine on a bicycle. It doesn't make you go faster, right? So I would say that the advice to executive, first of all, is the smartest way to accelerate with AI is to slow down first. Think of it like building a highway. If you don't take the time to lay a solid foundation, adding faster cars does not help. You will just get bigger pileups of cars that will not go faster. So how do you slow down to accelerate? I would say first, and I will say it again and again and again, fix the process. Even if it's manual today, make sure that it's fixed and working A to Z without any issues or hiccups. Number two is automate the obvious. And again, be able to differentiate between automation and AI. If you have repetitive stuff, you can go and automate it regardless to AI. And only then you can add AI and optimize and take it to the next level. That's when productivity really goes up. Otherwise, you risk scaling the wrong thing. And just as important, I would say start small, pick a couple of use cases, read them like experiment or POC, whatever you want to call it. Learn fast. And scale only when you have proven value. That's how you build trust in the organization and avoid what I call the company AI panic that everyone are running and trying to, purchase tools or try tools with no real, I would say, use case. So my advice will be don't start with AI. Start with the business problem that you are trying to solve. Solve a real problem. Okay? It's really important to make sure that there is a consensus around the problem that we are trying to solve. And again, it's not a It's not something which is which to take a lot of time. It can be defined in one sentence or two sentences. You will need to make sure that you have the data, the people, and the guardrails ready for it, and then you can let AI be this vehicle that can accelerate you forward. So I would say sometimes in life, fastest way to win is to slow down first, fix the road, then hit the gas.
Golden tip right here for free, everyone. I think it's clear from our conversation that AI is changing how software companies compete. This is clear. Are we seeing new winners and losers emerge, or are established players adapting successfully?
That's a great question, Yuval. And honestly, I think that we are going to see both winners and losers. And I will explain. On one end, small companies can move crazy fast. They are not tied down by any legacy system. Two, three smart people in a garage, as we like to say, they can build something amazing with AI that used to take hundreds of people in a big office for years. Okay, so that's a huge competitive edge. Again, follow the guideline of solving a real problem. This is for the small companies, for the startups. On the other end, take established companies that have their own
Superpowers.
power such scale, power such brand, power such trust, and customer install base with deep customer relationship. For them, AI is like a turbo boost, okay? But only if they can adapt their culture and actually execute. So because, if you think about it, here's the reality. Access to AI technology is not the differentiator anymore. It's not. I don't know if it's shocking anyone, but everyone can put their hands on the technology. It's available. Okay? It's becoming democratized. Everyone can get it. The real differentiator, as always, will be around execution. Who can weave AI into their workflows? Who can deliver real value and scale it without breaking customer trust? So yes, there will be winners, there will be losers, but they won't be defined by who has AI. They will be defined by who actually knows how to use it and execute.
So if we're looking ahead, what do you think the enterprise software landscape looks like in 2 to 3 years as AI becomes more mainstream?
Wow. Looking 2, 3 years ahead in AI is like trying to predict the stock market.
Yes.
What's going to be? It will change. You're just not sure how many times in a single day, right? So, but on a serious note, I do see a couple of big shifts coming in enterprise software as AI goes mainstream. First, consolidation. Right now, I mentioned some of the names. There are hundreds, not dozens, hundreds of little AI point solutions popping up everywhere, right? Like every day, even sometimes twice a day, you hear about new application or a new AI tool that aims to solve something. In a few years, many of those will either get acquired or fade away because customers would not, I'm talking about enterprise grade customers, they will not juggle 25, 30 different niche tools. They will ask for an integrated platform that can just work. And the big players, they will embed AI so deeply to their ecosystem that standalone tools will really struggle unless they are coming with truly differentiated value. So this is the first thing that I can predict in 2, 3 years, even earlier, that the consolidation will take place. Number 2 is customer expectation. Yeah, it's being changed. I mentioned about this client call. I think that, everyone with some kind of FOMO, rightfully to adopt or to move and take a step forward. But AI will move from being a cool add-on
to something everyone assumes is already built in.
Users won't just want automation. They will expect more than that. They will expect prediction. They will expect personalization. They will expect decision support baked into every workflow. And it will be, in terms of customer expectations, it will be embedded. Like no one today is asking, does this application have search capability? Today, some of them are still asking about AI, but in 2, 3 years, nobody will ask, does this application have AI? It will just be assumed that it's there. And number 3, if you ask me about what's going to happen in 2, 3 years, is the human. I think that is the human element, even in AI first world or AI first companies, human expertise, in my view, is still the number 1 differentiator. AI can execute, it can analyze, it can scale, but humans will be there to set the priorities, will be there to make the judgment calls, especially in high stakes enterprise environments. So in 2, 3 years, AI will be everywhere, but the winners won't be the ones to just add AI everywhere. The winners will be the ones who be smartly or wisely understand how to do this right blend between machine speed together with human judgment.
Approaching the end of this fascinating episode, For our listeners who are testing professionals, product manager, or executives, what's your advice for staying relevant and valuable in this AI-driven future?
My advice is very simple. No matter if you are a tester, a product manager, a product marketing manager, a personal assistant, a web designer, or an executive, never stop learning. Never stop learning. AI is moving so fast that the only skill that truly stays relevant is the ability to adapt. And the truth is that the moment as we, as humans, start learning and evolving, it's game over for us. So that's when we risk becoming obsolete. I know that what I said, well, just now, it's sad, but in my view, it's true. We cannot afford to sit on the sidelines. So if you haven't taken step forward yet, now is the time. The good news is learning has never been easier. Like you can take a training on AI, you can watch a YouTube tutorial, you can join an online academy, whatever works for you. Just take a step forward. The only real mistake is standing still. Because I think, in this AI era, your value is not in competing with the machine, or our value as humans is not competing with the machine. I will emphasize it again. It's in being the human the machine cannot be. And the only way to stay that human is to keep learning and keep growing. So that's my advice.
You can ask AI to help you learn more about AI. Very meta.
Exactly. You can learn with ChatGPT open. That's fine.
Yeah.
AI can help you learn, but learn. Don't assume that it's game over and just the machine will replace everyone. No. Learn, evolve, and grow.
David, this has been incredibly insightful. And before we wrap up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember from our conversation?
One thing, let me leave them with two, okay?
Okay.
With your permission.
Yeah.
So if I had to leave our listeners with just two things, here they are. First, don't chase AI for the sake of AI. Okay? Chase outcomes. Remember the car example. Let AI be the vehicle that gets you there. AI, I would say, no argue, is an incredible accelerator, but it's not magic. You still need the basics. Good data, strong governance, skilled people, and clear goals. So one, don't chase AI for the sake of AI. Number two is don't wait, start today. It reminds me that 3 years ago at our global sales kickoff, I stood up on stage in my keynote and said to everyone, it's a AI or die moment. Okay. I know that there was a quiet in the audience. At the time, people looked at me at, some kind of a Terminator that is coming, with this news. Fast forward to now, suddenly everyone gets it. It resonates. So you don't need to boil the ocean. Just take, one step forward, learn something new, try even a tiny use case, experiment it. The worst thing you can do is stand still and not do anything. So to wrap it up, Yuval, the winners won't be the ones who just have AI. They will be the ones who know how to use it wisely to build trust and to deliver impact.
Okay, inspiring words. That's a wrap on this episode of Test Talks. Thank you to David for sharing his CEO perspective on navigating the AI landscape. Remember, in a world full of AI hype, strategic thinking and practical implementation are what separate the leaders from the followers. If you found this episode valuable, subscribe and share it with your network. We've got more thought-provoking conversation coming your way. Until then, keep testing, keep questioning, and keep making smart decisions for your teams. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Yuval.